Morning, Bella and Gautam. Morning, Audrey and John. Morning, Sindhu. Morning, Diane. Morning, Steve. All right. I think that's most of the normal crew. We'll get started. It is Monday, start of a new week. So we'll do Pali, page 9, precepts. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhang saranang gacchami. Dhammang saranang gacchami. Sanghang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. Tisaranaгаmanang sampunang. Panatipata veramani sikapadang samadhiyami. Adinadana veramani sikapadang samadhiyami. Kamesu miccachara veramani sikapadang samadhiyami. Musavada veramani sikapadang samadhiyami. Sura Merya Majjapamadhatana veramani sikapadang samadhiyami. Tisiranena sadding panchasilang dhammang samadhayitva sadhukang surakitang katva appamadena sampadeta bang. Silena sukating yanti, silena bhoga sampada, silena nibbuting yanti, tasma silang visodaye. Page 23. Welcome, Cindy. You wrote a message on the YouTube the other day that I guess you weren't getting notifications. I hope it's fixed for you. YouTube plays all kinds of games with these things, so I don't know if I have an answer if there are issues like that. But let's get to our morning chanting. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Iti piso bhagava arahang samma sambuddho vidya charana sampano sugato loka vidu anuttaro purisa dhamma sarati satta deva manusanang buddho bhagavati. Svakato bhagavata dhammo sanditiko akaliko ehipassiko panayako pachattang vedatabbo vinyuhiti. Supatipanno bhagavato savaka sango ujupatipanno bhagavato savaka sango nyayapatipanno bhagavato savaka sango Samichi patipanno bhagavato savaka sango yadidang chattari purissa yugani yatta purissa puggala. Esa bhagavato savaka sango ahuneyo pahuneyo dakkineyo anjali karaniyo anuttarang punya kettang lokassati. Buddha susuddho karuna mahannavo yachanta suddha baranyana lochano lokassa papu pakile sagatako vandami buddhang ahammadarena tang. Namo te purisa janya namo te purisuttama sadeva kasming lokasming nattite patipuggalo. Dhammo padipo viyatassu sattu no yo maggapaka matabeda binnako lokuttaro yo chadharatta dipano vandami dhammang ahammadarena tang. Yo cha dhammam abhinyaya adhammam manyaya pandito rahadova nivato cha anejo vupasammati. Ye sang dhamma asamutta parivade sunaniyare te sambuddha sammadanya charanti visame samang. Ye kechi osadha loke vidjanti vividhabahu dhammo sada samang nati etang pivita bhikkavo dhammo sadang pivitvana ajara maranasiyung bhavayitva chapasitva nibbutta upadikkaye. Sango sukatta bhyatikatte sanneto yoditta santo sugatana bodhako lolapahino ariyo sumedaso vandami sanghang ahammadarena tang. Suko buddhana muppado sukha sadhamma desana sukha sangassa sammagge samagganang taposuko. Pahungve saranang yanti pabbatani vanani cha arammarukka chatyani manusa bayatajjita netangko saranang kemang netang saranang uttamang netang saranang agamma sabbadukka pamucchati yo cha buddhan cha dhamman cha sanghang cha saranang gato Chattari ariya satchani sammappanyaya passati dukkam dukkha samuppadang dukkhassa cha atikkamang Ariyanchitangikam maggam dukupasamagaminang etang ko serenang kemang etang serenang uttamang etang serenang agamma sabbadukka pamuchyati imaya dhamma nudhamma patipattiya buddhang pujemi imaya dhamma nudhamma patipattiya dhammang pujemi Imaya dhamma nudhamma patipattiya sanghang pujemi. Mano pubangama dhamma mano setta manomaya manasa che paduttena bhasati va karoti va tato nang dukkam manveti chakkang va vahato pada. Mano pubangama dhamma mano setta manomaya manasa che pasanena bhasati va karoti va tato nang sukham manveti chaya va anapayani anicca vata sankhara upada vayadhamino upajitva nirujjanti te sangvu pasumo sukho sabba papassa akaranang kusalasu upasampada Satchitta pariyodapanang etang buddhana sasanang kanti paramang tapo tittika nibbanang paramang vadanti buddha nahi pabbajito parubhaghati samanohoti parang viheta yanto anupavado anupagato patimoke cha sangvaro mattanyuta cha batasming pantancha sayanasanang Arichitte cha ayogo etang buddhana sasanang. Himena punya kamena upajjaya gunuttara achariyupakara cha mata pita piya mamang Suryo chandimaraja gunavanta nirapicha Brahma mara cha inda cha lokapala cha devata Yamo mitta manusa cha majhata verika picha Sabbe satta sukhi hontu punyani pakatani me Sukang chatividhang dentu kepang papetu vomatang Imena punya kamena imena udasena cha kepahang sulabhe cheva tanupadana chedanang Ye santane hina dhamma yavanibana tomamang na santu sabbadayeva yata jato bhave bhave Ujicetto satipanyo saleko viryavamino mara labantuno kasang kattuncha viryesume buddhadi pavaro nato dhammo nato varuttamo nato pacekka sambuddho sangho nato taro mamang teso tamanubhavena maro kasang labantuma Imena punya kamena mame bala samagamo satang samagamo hotu yavanibana pattiya Dukkha patta chane dukkha baya patta chane baya sokha patta chane sokha hontu sabbe pipaniyo Bhavagupadaya avici hattato etantare sattaka yupapanna rupiya rupi cha asanya sanya no dukkha pamuchantu pusantu nibbuting Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Alright friends, we're continuing on with our secondary chanting through the Mahasatipatthana Sutta. Those of you who are joined, if you're new, you can find the PDF for the chanting book we're using in the description. And we're going to be on page 201, I believe. And thank you, Bella and Gautam, for explaining how you get your notifications. So page 201, Rupa sanchetana loke pirupang satarupang ete satanha pahiyamana pahiyati yatta nirujyamana nirujyati. Saddha sanchetana loke pirupang satarupang ete satanha pahiyamana pahiyati etta nirujyamana nirujyati. Gandha sanchetana loke pirupang satarupang ete satanha pahiyamana pahiyati yatta nirujyamana nirujyati. Rasa sanchetana loke pirupang satarupang ete satanha pahiyamana pahiyati etta nirujyamana nirujyati. Pottabba sanchetana loke pirupang satarupang ete satanha pahiyamana pahiyati yatta nirujyamana nirujyati. Dhamma sanchetana loke pirupang satarupang ete satanha pahiyamana pahiyati etta nirujyamana nirujyati. Rupa tanha loke pirupang satarupang ete satanha pahiyamana pahiyati etta nirujyamana nirujyati. Saddha tanha loke pirupang satarupang ete satanha pahiyamana pahiyati etta nirujyamana nirujyati. Gandha tanha loke pirupang satarupang ete satanha pahiyamana pahiyati etta nirujyamana nirujyati. Rasa tanha loke pirupang satarupang ete satanha pahiyamana pahiyati etta nirujyamana nirujyati. Pottabba tanha loke pirupang satarupang ete satanha pahiyamana pahiyati etta nirujyamana nirujyati. Pottabba tanha loke pirupang satarupang ete satanha pahiyamana pahiyati etta nirujyamana nirujyati. Dhamma tanha loke pirupang satarupang ete satanha pahiyamana pahiyati etta nirujyamana nirujyati. All right, English. You know, it's funny. The thought arose in me as I started chanting was that it's actually much easier for me to chant the Pali than to say the English. This is something that I've learned. There's many Dhamma things where I actually remember the Pali easier than I do the English. I like Pali. All right. And even if you look at the English translation is about 5 or 6 sentences longer than the Pali. Volition regarding forms has a pleasant and agreeable nature in the world. It is here that this craving is abandoned when it is abandoned. It is here that it ceases when it ceases. Volition regarding sounds has a pleasant and agreeable nature in the world. It is here that this craving is abandoned when it is abandoned. It is here that it ceases when it ceases. Volition regarding odors has a pleasant and agreeable nature in the world. It is here that this craving is abandoned when it is abandoned. It is here that it ceases when it ceases. Volition regarding tastes has a pleasant and agreeable nature in the world. It is here that this craving is abandoned when it is abandoned. It is here that it ceases when it ceases. Volition regarding tactile objects has a pleasant and agreeable nature in the world. It is here that this craving is abandoned when it is abandoned. It is here that it ceases when it ceases. Volition regarding mental phenomena has a pleasant and agreeable nature in the world. It is here that this craving is abandoned when it is abandoned. It is here that it ceases when it ceases. Craving for forms has a pleasant and agreeable nature in the world. It is here that this craving is abandoned when it is abandoned. It is here that it ceases when it ceases. Craving for sounds has a pleasant and agreeable nature in the world. It is here that this craving is abandoned when it is abandoned. It is here that it ceases when it ceases. Craving for odor has a pleasant and agreeable nature in the world. It is here that this craving is abandoned when it is abandoned. It is here that it ceases when it ceases. Craving for tastes has a pleasant and agreeable nature in the world. It is here that this craving is abandoned when it is abandoned. It is here that it ceases when it ceases. Craving for tactile objects has a pleasant and agreeable nature in the world. It is here that this craving is abandoned when it is abandoned. It is here that it ceases when it ceases. Craving for mental phenomena has a pleasant and agreeable nature in the world. It is here that this craving is abandoned when it is abandoned. It is here that it ceases when it ceases. We're almost to the end. We only have one more session of this framework, and then we are coming close to the end. So let's do our thought of the day. Continuing through Paticca Samuppada, we ended with feeling. All right. Vedana Paccaya Tanha, Tanha Paccaya Upadanang, Upadana Paccaya Bhava. Page 66. Dependent on feeling, craving arises. Dependent on craving, clinging arises. Dependent on clinging, becoming arises. Morning, friends. So, we have dependent on feeling. So, feeling is pleasant, painful, or neutral. And because we have, the Buddha says in Salla Sutta, the simile of the arrow, the Buddha tells us that we have an underlying tendency to become attached to pleasant experiences. When pleasant experience arises, we thirst for them more. We want them more. And from the same sutta, when unpleasant experience arises, we seek an escape. And because we don't know any skillful escape, the only escape we know is to drown out the unpleasant with pleasant experiences. And so this is where you get people using entertainment, drugs, alcohol, food, video games, porn, whatever it is, to drown out their unpleasant feelings and experiences. And so this is our tanha, our thirst. With the arising of feeling comes the arising of tanha, thirst or craving. When something is pleasant, we like it, we want more of it. And then we upadana. Upadana means to like grasp, to take up, to hold on to grasp. And so when we like something, we want to grasp it. So what happens? Eventually it goes away. It slips through our fingers. And so we have to start the chase. We're chasing after because of our thirst. We're chasing after these things. And we're running away. We're simultaneously chasing after what we like and away from what we dislike. Run, 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 run. And we do this throughout our samsaric state of existence. And so because of these feelings, because of our desire, because of our thirst and our craving, then we have upadana. Upadana. And because we have upadana, what do we have? Bhava. Bhava is existence, becoming. Because we thirst. We've done just recently, a week or two ago, we finished up the Noble Eightfold Path, and we did the Four Noble Truths, and so we understand second noble truth of thirst, of tanha. Because we thirst, we create suffering. Because we thirst, because we grasp, it is natural that we will want to continue on. Right? Buddha says that there is a kamogha. Kamogha means a flood of sensual pleasures. We are totally, as soon as you enter this body, you are immersed in senses. And so there's a flood of sensual pleasures. So much so that you cannot even experience it all in one life. And when that life is done, you want to continue experiencing it. And so because of that, bhava, existence again. You come into existence one more time. And then again, and then again, and then again. Until we are able to abandon our tanha. So remember, Vedana Pachaya Tanha. Feeling, with the arising of feeling, comes the arising of thirst. With the arising of thirst, comes the arising of clinging. With the arising of clinging, comes the arising of bhava, born again. Well, bhava is you're technically not born, because that's the next one. But this is coming into being. You can think of bhava as like when the the embryo is conceived. That is bhava. That is coming into being once more. So, all right. So with that, friends, we can think about, contemplate, and try to investigate that link between feeling, when something arises, and then how we react to it. Our likes, our dislikes, our thirst. I like this, I don't like that. See if you can observe yourself chasing after what is pleasant, running away from what is unpleasant. You might wake up in the morning and you might be grumpy. And you say, I need my coffee. You're kind of simultaneously running away from the unpleasant and running towards the pleasant. There's lots and lots of little things that we do this. All of us do this maybe even hundreds of times a day. You can observe that. We don't, I'm not a coffee drinker, so that coffee is not my thing, but maybe I have other things. Right, so this is, we all have this because we all have tanha. There's no end to that. At least not while we're just patujana, while we're not awakened beings. So friends, I wish you a very spiritually successful and peaceful day. Sukhi Hotu, may you be happy. Tonight, oh yeah, I do have a couple announcements. Tonight, Dhammapalooza, 8 p.m. So in about 11 and a half hours. So in terms of morning monastery experience, I have some news coming up. A week from today, starting a week from today, I'm going to be staying at Empty Cloud with Bhante Sudasu and Ayasoma for a week. And probably no Dhamma, morning monastery experience during that time. So next week, no morning monastery experience. And then I'm going to Colorado in April 16th to the 23rd. Probably also no morning monastery experience. It depends. I might be able to do it. We'll see. But we'll see what happens. But then also, so most likely what's going to be happening is May and June. I'm going to be, how shall I say, substitute abboting at Empty Cloud. Aya and Bhante are going to be going off to Italy. They're doing things in Italy for a couple months, and they've asked me if I can, basically stay and be the monk there and take care of the place. And so that's most likely what I'm going to be doing in May and June. And I don't know If there's other monastics there, then I probably won't fiddle with the schedule and say I'm going to do morning monastery experience. But if it's just me, then morning monastery experience will continue during those months. So we'll see what happens with that. I'm not 100% sure just yet. But that's just to give you guys a couple updates in terms of morning monastery experience in the next couple months. As long as I continue my nomad life, morning monastery experience is going to be affected. Well, all of my stuff is going to be affected. But because it's the morning monastery experience, I try not to especially if I'm staying with other monastics, morning monastery experience can really conflict with monastery schedules. So that's probably when mostly it's we're not going to be able to do it. So all right, friends, I'll see you tonight for Dhammapalooza, or I'll see you tomorrow morning for another morning monastery experience. Have a good day.